You're listening to a full podcast episode from Track Record, a show where composers, musicians, and music lovers discuss and review music from pop culture. Hello and welcome to Track Record, a show where composers, musicians, and music lovers discuss and review our favourite music from pop culture. I'm your host Jonathan, and I am joined by my co-host Hanae. If you are finding us from Who Ordered Coffee, hello and welcome back. This is a spin-off show of sorts, but obviously with a focus on music. This is the inaugural episode, and we are joined by our wonderful friend Carl, who is kindly gracing our show with his knowledge and appreciation for today's topic, which, if you know us from listening to Who Ordered Coffee, is of course the music for Lord of the Rings. We are specifically talking about the music from the first film, The Fellowship of the Ring, because one, it creates a bit of focus for the discussion, but obviously because this gives us the opportunity to milk 3 episodes from this franchise, and who doesn't want that?
Awesome.
No one. That's what I thought. And there we are. Okay, so how is everyone feeling?
I'm excited.
Are we excited for this?
You could say we
Okay.
could milk 6 episodes because we could potentially go into The Hobbit.
That's exactly right. And if you want to talk about the Amazon Prime Rings of Power, potentially you've got years of content there. We'll
Years
never be
of
done.
content. Yeah.
Oh, and I've heard that there might be another Lord of the Rings show coming soon, not
That's
from Amazon.
right.
And
There's like a Lord of the Rings anime. I read something about
Yeah,
that.
Wait, anime? I
there's
didn't
going
hear-
to be
Yeah.
there's going
Okay,
to be an
no.
animated one. The Riders of Rohirrim. It's supposed to be coming
Yeah.
out later this year, I think.
Oh my gosh,
That's right.
I did not. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't see the word
There you go.
anime in this, and now I'm super
And
excited.
then after that, we're also going to get there's going to be like more Lord of the Rings movies or something, or I don't know,
Yeah, that's the
I
one I
heard
did
about
see
that.
actually.
something.
I heard about that, and I'm not sure.
So
I
we've
think
got
there's
so
no word
much
of feature.
content,
We've
which
got
is
so much content.
great for us.
We will just be here forever.
What a
we'll never stop
shame.
recording. What a
Years
shame.
worth.
Years and years of work. Okay, but before we go any deeper, maybe we need to introduce ourselves, just in case people listening are finding us for the first time, not from Who Ordered Coffee, and have no idea who the heck we are. So I will start us off. So myself, I am Jonathan. I'm a composer. I play violin, piano, do some teaching, just a little teeny tiny bit. Yes, totally.
You do a lot.
I do a lot of teaching. No. And obviously we're here talking about Lord of the Rings, one of my favorite franchises. But yeah, that's just a little bit. I think that's all the prerequisites I need. I love Lord of the Rings. I'm a musician, and that's the premise of the show.
And that's how you get
Sounds like
on
enough.
the show, apparently.
that's all the show is going to be about, guys.
That's how I got. I got the invite back just because of that, I think. So
Exactly.
it's enough. Yeah.
That's enough. That's Hanae.
Oh,
How
okay.
about yourself?
Hello, I am Hanae. I am a viola player. I also teach violin, piano. Fun facts, I own an organ and drum kit. I am a composer, and
yes.
Lord of the Rings is my favorite franchise, and it will probably always be.
Fantastic. And of course, Carl joining us.
Hi, I'm Carl. I'm a classical trumpet player and Lord of the Rings enthusiast, I think I'll say.
A veritable Lord of the Rings fiend, I think.
Yeah. That's a good word. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Fantastic. So I think we're all qualified to be here. I think,
Absolutely.
yes. We've met the prerequisite of this show, I think. Yes. It'd be a shame if we weren't. Imagine if I had to just suddenly stop talking because I actually, it turns out, guys, I've never watched these films.
So it's been a lie I've been carrying around for years. Who's Sam? Why is everything about a ring? Is someone getting married?
Yes, it's actually all the rom-com. Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
rom-com.
It's a rom-com. No, it's the Sonic film. That's right. That's why there's so many rings. Actually, Sonic.
Oh
No.
my gosh.
Okay. Let's not get derailed too far. So if you're listening to us, if you've come over from Who Ordered Coffee, you will remember Carl from the LOTR episode we did with him. And honestly, this entire show may have possibly spun off entirely in part because of that episode. But
Wow, that makes me so
It
proud.
was so much fun though.
it was so much fun to just deep dive a film. Now in that episode though, we did talk more about like just various aspects of the film, like the different races, the different armors, and all that kind of stuff. But this show, I think you may have figured out, is more to do with the music. But we will touch on aspects of the film if it strikes us. So there's no hard boundaries there.
Yay.
Just so we're all aware. Okay. All right, moving on. Actually, let's start off with our first question. So, I mean, the classic question to go to is, what is our favorite track? And I think we've touched on this in the past, but just so people listening know, are reminded of, what is the first track? What is your favorite
Only
track or theme
Only in the first movie or in all?
Only in the first film. So we're pulling this time only from the first film, because if we pull from every other film, we're not going to be able to come back and milk this for all it's worth. So,
fair. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
That's right. And now I specify favorite track and or theme because some of the tracks, like multiple tracks, may have like the same theme, because of all the leitmotifs, which is the score is rather famous for its use of leitmotifs and all of the massive catalog that it has. So that's why I put that specification. Does anybody want to start?
I'm happy to start if you want.
Fantastic. Carl, please.
I can go first. Okay, so I kind of got 2 answers. I think most of the questions I'll probably have at least 2 answers to.
I'd love to hear.
Yeah, so favorite track. I've got 2 because I've got favorite for movie specific theme. So just in the Fellowship of the Ring, and that's my favorite is Ammon Hen.
Ooh, very good.
That's my favorite because I think I just love that whole scene. But the music just gives such like an intense vibe to like the action, the final action at the end of the movie. So I love that one.
Yep.
Yeah, but that theme does come back like quoted slightly in The Steward of Gondor in the 3rd movie.
Oh yeah,
but
that makes sense.
Yeah, but it stands as its own like music just in that one. And then my other answer is for like returning music, the Bridge of Khazad-dûm.
Oh, fair. Classic.
Which is like, like the biggest, most intense like Fellowship theme in the whole franchise pretty much.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. And then all the like the dwarvish chanting as well.
Oh yes,
very
cool. Can't go wrong.
In that,
Before I let anyone else speak, I do want to slip a piece of trivia in because it relates to what Carl just said, if I may. So the fun fact I found, now it's not like officially confirmed, but like this is something that someone else pointed out online, and they have evidence to back it up. It is indeed evident in the score. I'm not sure if this was by design, but a fun fact is, after Gandalf passes, spoiler, he passes into the beyond. He falls down and has a little battle. After that, the Fellowship theme is never heard in its full entire statement because Gandalf has parted from the Fellowship. So the Fellowship theme has been shortened because the Fellowship is not full. So and I was like, oh, that's really nice. That's a very cool little detail. I have no idea if that's actually what Howard Shore intended, but the evidence seems to suggest that, because that is indeed true. The theme never comes back in full, and it's always just the slightly shorter, just like little reference to the theme.
That's really awesome. Yeah. Like it could be just Howard Shore was like, didn't want to ever bring back the long version because he'd already done it. He was not like, oh, listen to this again. Yeah. But also, I think that would be really cute if it was on purpose.
Yeah. It's just a fun little fact. So I thought that was rather neat. But anyway, Hanae.
That's really cool. And it would make sense though, even when Gandalf returns, because Boromir is no longer in the Fellowship.
Exactly. That's what I thought as well. Yeah.
So I was like, that works way too well. So I kind of hope it's a real thing as well, but that's okay. I might have 3 favorites.
Of course.
Sorry.
Of course. Hit us with all
the Isengard theme.
Of course.
Because
classic.
It sounds so epic with the French horns and the chains. The Nazgul theme is pretty cool. And the Breaking of the Fellowship, the whole track of that one makes me cry so much.
All very good. All very good.
So heart-wrenching and so gorgeous.
But of those 3, do you have are you able to pick one out of those 3? So
rude. Okay, the one probably I listen to the most is the Breaking of the Fellowship, just because it comes up more on my shuffle list, because Spotify
feels.
Spotify's like, you haven't felt sadness for a little bit, so here you go. After some like,
you're not sad enough.
Yeah,
you're not sad enough.
Here you go. Think about everything. But it's just so pretty.
It's like a cathartic kind of sad.
It is. It's like you're thinking back on all the good times that you've had with people in your life, and though they might not be a part of your life anymore, you still have those memories. And to me, that's very precious. And it just makes me feel a lot of emotions. I'm like, this is done so beautifully. And it's just a lovely way to wrap up the first movie for me personally.
That's great. Yeah.
It's almost like relieving, like you feel better afterwards, even though you felt so sad.
Because the Fellowship's broken. They've ditched each other. And you're like, no, that's not, Gandalf told you to stay together. I don't know. But it was like, you're meant to stay together. But it's
they're fulfilling some other larger plan now, you know?
So like you're heartbroken, but you know it's for the best, so you accept it.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Is there is there like a theme that any particular recurring theme that you like the most? Does the
it goes through quite a few different themes.
Because I think that track has quite a few that's
but they merge so well into one another, and that's why I think back in like the memories, because you know it's referencing
it's like a little
the movie
suite of
basically.
Everything that came.
Yeah, so it's almost like a miniature overture, but not really.
Okay, I see Carl has thoughts.
Yes, Carl. Well,
yeah, I was just thinking about the music that starts that song, The Breaking of the Fellowship, and I think there may be some similarities between that and some of the music that happens during the Faramir's flashback in the Two Towers when he's thinking about Boromir. And I think there's actually some very similar things that go on in those two tracks, and it's always a memory thing or something like that.
Memory motif. Yeah.
Little sad memories.
Fantastic. And I believe that then leaves me.
Yes, Jonathan, what's yours? Do you have multiple or one?
No, I stuck to the plan and I had one.
Well, sorry.
You guys, I had one.
You're so strong.
You're stronger than all of us.
I'm too strong. I was too strong. No, so the track I'm referring to, this is from the complete album, is if anyone wants to
I think I'm looking
wants
at
to look
that
around and find it. Yes, I'm looking at the complete recording, so not the first one that they put out, which is a bit more condensed. So this is specifically the track called Give Up the Halflings. It's number 3.
Oh my gosh, of course you picked that one.
Of course I would.
You did
because
that
one of my
time.
favorite scenes, I think I did, like I can't miss one of my favorite scenes of the entire trilogy is when the Nazgul roll up on the river and they're like, give us the halfling. And Arwen is like, if you want him, and then got that slam cut up to her face, come and take you. That's to me, I just love that scene so much, and everything leading up to it. The Middle Earth version of the car chase where they're on horses, like that's just so cool. Like, and the fact that the track is just they're using that. I did have to look this up, and I can segue nicely now into another piece of trivia. The Nazgul track uses I don't know how I say this properly. Adunaic, Adunaic is the spelling.
Adunaic.
I think Carl.
Yeah.
Does that ring any bells for you? Yeah. Also called Numenorian is the ancient speech of men, and that's the text that they use. So the text that the choir is singing during that track is this ancient language, which is very appropriate because that's what the Nazgul actually are.
Yes.
And the translations of the lyrics are: we deny our maker, we cling to the darkness, we grasp for ourselves power and glory. Now we come the 9 lords of eternal life. And that's just so cool. Like the fact awesome. That the music has this text that is describing exactly who these creatures are, and it sounds epic and scary, and it's just the whole package is rather incredible. It's just so cool. And I'm sure there are like music since that will have done a similar thing where they use like the fictional language or the made up language, and they use it in their vocal. But this is the first time I'd come across something like that. And I think everything else since has just been like, it's been like a copy of this. So, this one holds the crown for me.
Lord of the Rings came first, guys.
Lord of the Rings came first. Nothing else before Lord of the Rings.
But I do think...
Lord of the Rings invented cinema.
Absolutely. But I do think...
genre defining.
In all the scores, in all the movies, they do use multiple languages, which I think is quite a rare case as well.
Yes.
Like, even if it is a fantasy film and they're using a language, it's normally just one. But with Tolkien, he's like, here's a bunch. Have fun.
That actually just reminds me, and this is going to now turn into a slide diss of Avatar. Just a slide diss.
Go for it.
But this is true. But actually, I just realized I shouldn't say that because I have no way of backing that up. I don't have my sources available. I'm gonna
you can just claim
like,
it.
I am the
source. No, but so for James Cameron's Avatar, the soundtrack, while very amazing, I will be the first to say that I really like the soundtrack. The vocal part of the soundtrack a lot of it is just syllables. It doesn't actually have any meaning. It's just sounds that they pick that sounds nice. which is the way I write my super fantasy style choir music, because it's great, it's easy, but it's interesting that they also have like an entirely fabricated language for that movie, and it's, you know, the make-believe civilization of Na'vi, but that's not used in the choir at all, and it's a bit of a shame.
Actually,
I think, there's a whole video out there describing the rather turbulent and tumultuous adventure that this soundtrack went on. It started off being really interesting for ethnomusicology, and then it kind of went like, nope. There's a whole story about it. So, but I won't get into that because that's not for this today. But there you go.
But maybe next episode.
Next time.
Next episode, maybe. But yeah, so that's my favorite track, just that one, and you know. I mean, there's a lot of other choices, but I think that one always seems to stand head and shoulders above everything else for me.
Well, you've always picked it, that. So
yeah.
I think it's pretty like solid choice.
It tracks. Yeah. It tracks.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Jonathan. That one is awesome. I know them from like the old CDs that had like each track was named from a chapter in the book or the scene in the movie, rather than being split up so much. So it actually has less of the actual music from the movies on it, but it's like so the version I know is Flight to the Ford, which is the same thing.
Same thing. Now moving on to our next question, so I have here, what track would you like to play in? Now this doesn't have to be an instrument that you own or instrument that you play on. So like, for instance, if you only play trumpet, you don't have to say just trumpet in this track. It could be, hey, I really want to play that 5/4 percussion break drum bit, you know, in Isengard. Maybe that's something I want to do. Just as an example. So throwing it to the group should we come back to you, Carl? I mean, is there any particular track that you'd love to play in on any particular instrument?
Well, definitely always trumpet stuff, you know, like whenever I listen to music, I'm always like, no, the trumpet bit's the best bit. Why would I want to do anything else?
How dare you ask that, Jonathan?
So I think the one I'd want to play the most would be the Journey South. So that's like where you play the Fellowship theme, and it's like the trumpet line is the main one when they walk over the hill and you see the Fellowship for the first time. It's like, I think that would have to be the one. You get to play the whole thing, and it's all about the trumpet too. So
nice.
Best one.
You just stand up in the orchestra and you get a spotlight and everything.
You get your moment finally.
Fantastic. Hanae, how about you?
I'm going to do a mini brag. I actually played... Well, there's no organ part for Lord of the Rings. And I've told you...
I have a separate question for that, but I have a separate question for this later. Anyway.
But I have told you I was writing a piece for the Similarian where it has the organ, but I haven't actually gone back and finished it. Not the point. Little mini brag. I actually played Lord of the Rings like 2 weeks ago now in Wacko.
Oh, fantastic.
The other part sucks, by the way. A little disappointed, Howard Shaw. I got no theme. So very bummed out. But I did enjoy it because it meant I got to listen to it all. So I was like, it's all good.
There you go.
But so if I would have to pick a different instrument because Howard Shaw said nope to the violas. I would pick the French horn because they have some epic themes in there, along with the trumpet.
They've got all the best.
They have pretty good stuff.
The French horn and low brass. If I could, I'd switch to bass trombone.
Yeah, all the brass instruments. Howard Shaw said, "Here you go," and I'm just like, no.
Fantastic.
Or percussion because I know they do get to play chains and a bodhran drum.
Oh
and
yes.
Other cool things, anvil.
All kinds of
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I think it's break drum was on the score, but I've seen people perform it with chains and stuff.
Yeah.
As well,
the recordings I've listened to, I'm pretty sure those have chains, but a lot of people don't just have chains lying around unless you go to Bunnings.
No, not usually.
No.
But
chains plus anvil.
Yeah, that's my next two instruments I'm going to buy, guys. I'll keep you updated.
Chains,
I'm gonna recreate Lord of the Rings in my own.
I can just see it right now. Like if you go shop, if you go shop for the just regular chains, it's gonna be like, I don't know, $30 or something. And then if you shop for the instrumental variety, it's gonna be like 120.
Yeah,
for the same thing. Yeah,
because they're pitched.
That's totally what's gonna happen.
They're all tuned.
Pitched chains.
They're all
chains.
Tuned to 441.
How do you tune a chain?
Remember the size of it?
Probably, and like the thickness of the metal and what type of metal it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too much to think about.
Right there.
But that's my answer.
That means you need to get a full set of chains.
You gotta find
so
out.
You can play everything on the chains.
Yeah, I'd go to Bunnings.
There you
I
go.
reckon I could get some. Not the anvil. I don't know where I'm going to get that from. I've never seen one at Bunnings.
Your local blacksmith.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's right. Just pop down to the local blacksmith.
Okay.
They're just a stone's throw away. We live in Middle Earth, that's why.
Yeah, they would probably find one. Jonathan, what would you like? I didn't even remember the question.
So
question
which
to you.
track would I play? Yes, which track would I like to play? My original answer was still the Give Up the Halfling, but exclusively the missing horn line that's taken out from the movie. So if you've listened to our previous episode, Lord of the Rings episode on Who Ordered Coffee, I do mention this, that there's a really cool horn line that they take out. And I don't know why, but I guess it was for the best. They needed to cut out some of that. It was never for the best. No, but there's a really cool horn line that's just like describing the sort of chaos of the all the horses moving around. And it's just really cool. And I was like, if I could play something, I'd play that thing.
Yeah, see, French horn was the answer.
Missing bit. French horn was the answer. But because I don't want to copy Hanae and also say French horn, I would say my other answer would be, I believe they play, is it the pen whistle or some other type of... It's a tin
whistle, I think.
It's a tin whistle.
There's a tin whistle,
actually. A tin whistle and recorder.
Yeah.
I believe it's Flaming Red Hair. It's the party music that they play at Bilbo's party. There's a variety of sort of folk instruments in that I think would be quite a lot of fun. I think this sounds like there's a hurdy-gurdy in there somewhere. Possibly. There's something playing a drone tone. I think that'd be I could do that. I feel like I could shoot.
Probably.
I'd be all right to do that. Just play one note.
That'd be a good little party band to get together.
It would be.
Actually, like just playing themed parties, and you just
exclusively
play your little whistles and your flutes and all sorts.
I think it'd be great at Renaissance festivals.
Yeah,
it's probably where I think it'd do quite well there.
Is it?
But yeah, I mean,
is it just me, or is hurdy-gurdy one of the weirdest names for an instrument?
It truly is.
Like when I hear it, I'm just like,
it has to be
what?
the weirdest.
Was that a real thing you just said to me?
It isn't. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah, no, it is. It's called a hurdy-gurdy.
I just gotta double check now.
The name just froze me off.
It sounds like something the Swedish chef. It sounds like something the Swedish chef from the
does.
Muppet says.
He totally would, didn't he?
He probably has said it, but that's just.
But
that's just my hot take on hurdy-gurdies.
He probably has, right?
They're amazing, but the name.
Yeah, it's just kind of strange. It doesn't sound right. But here's a very quick description of Wikipedia if you're not sure what it is. The hurdy-gurdy is a stringed instrument that produces sound by a hand-cranked, turned, rosined wheel rubbing against the strings. So there you go. It's just turning. I could totally do that.
Yeah, and you've got buttons and they play the different chords. So
there you go. It's like an accordion.
Yeah, but a string accordion.
A stringed accordion.
It's very cool.
How about that?
Makes nice noises.
Okay. All right. Well, carrying on, I do have a couple. I've set aside a couple questions you guys might have seen, which is just thoughts on this theme, thoughts on Shire theme, thoughts on etc. 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 I won't spoil them just yet. But the reason behind this is because I know some of these themes. Some of us have things to say about certain things. I know, for example, the Rivendell theme, Hanae usually has a particular gripe about it. So I thought I'd just put that in there. And this is sort of what this section of questioning is about. I just wanted to know if anyone had like any opinions or just like reviews of the theme, if you will. Just like what you liked about it. So just to kick things off, there's the Shire theme. It can't go wrong. I put this one up at the front because I wanted to just like say that I wake up to this every morning. So like so literally awesome. I have like my little Alexa dot thing, and I've set it up so that when the alarm goes off and when I dismiss it, and I ask it to start my day, it will turn on the power or not, and then it will play the Concerning Hobbits, and that's how I wake up. So it's just so wholesome, concerning. It's just super wholesome and just really warm and nice and like I don't know if there's a better way to start your day.
Do you wake up now in a good mood?
That's so nice.
Sorry, so do you wake up like instantly happy and be like, oh?
Well, okay, here we go. In theory, yes, the track should put me in a good mood.
Yeah.
What usually happens though is because I've got an older generation Alexa Dot because it was on sale. Go figure. But the microphone's not great. So when the alarm goes off, I'm like, Echo, turn off. Echo, turn off. God damn it, Echo, turn off. It's just still going. So I get really annoyed and I tell it to shut up. and then usually I'm just in a bad mood. So it's like I need to find a better balance. But when it does work, because sometimes it does, once in a blue moon, I can then ask it to run my morning routine, and it will play Concerting Hobbits, which is good. And then everything is good.
The problem here though is you could end up like associating that song with a bad mood. So I've done that with songs before that you use as an alarm or something, and you just end up hating it very quickly.
That is true. That is a very real concern. I've got the track set as a different thing. So it's not the alarm. The alarm is its own sound. After I turn off the alarm, I then ask it to start my day routine, and then it plays the track. So it's not actually associated with the alarm itself. It's just part of the morning process.
Yeah, but if you're getting frustrated right before it starts every time, that still can't be good.
That's true. So I got to do something about that.
You could always alternate themes. As well.
Possibly. Yeah.
Because then you're not always listening to the exact same one and getting ingrained in the wrong way.
You know what I should do? I should set it to the if you guys have played the Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I think I know what you're about to say.
The soundtrack that plays every time a guardian targets you.
I kid you not.
Oh, no.
Right when you said started your sentence, I was like, please say guardian music. I don't know why.
You just start running.
Actually, I think I should do that so
happens.
I can get up on time for my work.
Exactly.
Just in fear.
Exactly. Yeah. Please let us know if that gave you PTSD hearing that just now. So
it did, because I could tell what you were about to say. I was like, oh, my senses are going off, Guardian.
But there you go. But yeah. So throwing it back to the group, Carl, thoughts, experiences, feelings of the Shire theme, if you have any.
Oh, the Shire theme's just nice, isn't it?
So good,
especially when you get to hear it. Like later on, like you get used to it in the beginning because you hear it a lot in the first 20-30 minutes of the movie. But then when you get later on in the movie and you hear it again, you're like, oh, that's really nice. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
It missed all it.
It bring back good memories, and yeah, it's good.
Sorry, what?
And food.
And food.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Oh, and food. Yeah.
That's right.
Bring back memories of good food.
Right. Yeah, actually, now that you mentioned that, I'm thinking, it doesn't come back too often after they leave the Shire. So when it finally comes back, it's like a nice, warm embrace. Everything's going to be okay until you get to the next movie.
Yeah, don't look ahead.
Yeah, so some hobbits are having a nice moment, and that's what it means.
Yes. I have a little piece of trivia for the Shire theme, which is it doesn't change key, I believe.
No.
So... No, it stays in it doesn't change key. It does, and it stays very steady. Everything's very like consistent. And I don't know, one reading that some people on the interwebs have said is that it's sort of like reflective of the simplistic lifestyle of the hobbits and how like they don't like change and everything is just nice and dandy. So I think that that seems to track.
Yeah.
So
can I jump in for a hot
take that what you will. You absolutely can.
Thank you. So when I was playing this spot, all the strings are playing so under the recorder because, the recorder actually can't amplify, which is what I found out. And if it does, it goes up a few octaves and out of tune. So, yeah. Anyway, we were just playing simple crotchets and we had a lot of spaces in our notes and it made it so like what you said, it's simple life. With the recorder just having a nice one-line melody. And it does get joined later on with the violin, but it still doesn't add too much to it. It's just like a nice comforting line together. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
Also, there's a few GPs, which are like silence.
Oh, yeah.
Just to let you have a moment.
Although, is this like a concert version of it? Because I think...
Probably. Because I have looked for
quite.
Days and weeks to try and purchase these scores. I have been very unsuccessful.
You need to try Zinfonia. See if you can hire the parts from someone.
Zinfonia?
From somewhere.
Is that a website?
Yeah. I asked. Yeah, it is. I asked Sam where he got scores from for Wacko. And he was like, yeah, try this website. So, yeah, Zinfonia. But yeah, Hanae, if you're able to multitask,
yes.
Did you have any thoughts on the Shire theme beyond what you already said about playing in it?
Besides playing in it, quite like it. It's it
is good.
It's good.
Yes.
It's fine. Because for me, I really love the loud and fast paced music just because
Of course.
that's the vibe I love.
Yeah.
So I think when I sometimes rewatch it, sometimes it feels a little bit slow paced, the very first one, just because, as Carl says, it's a 30-minute scene of them still in the Shire. So it almost feels like it does drag out slightly, but maybe that's because I got a little impatient when I was younger. But when I was older, I was really enjoying just kind of like laying back in the sun and letting it just soak in, kind of.
Yeah.
So it's very nice, relaxing.
You're just a cat. You're just a cat sleeping in a sunbeam.
Yes.
That's a good way of describing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you feel.
It's sunbeam.
I don't think they have cats in the Shire.
Hmm.
Sorry, that was so random.
Now I'm thinking about it.
I don't think you see a cat. There's
Maybe they're not cat people.
Dogs and stuff.
Because they have pigs and goats.
Pigs,
but then I was like,
goat.
I have not seen a cat.
Yeah.
Maybe did I have a mouse problem?
A suspicious lack of
yes.
cat.
It's called dwarves in their pantry.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, I think you don't see any
feline creatures.
Yeah, for feline creatures, like there's no like tigers or lions or anything, are there?
No.
So,
well, not in that side of
because
their...
it's like it's based on European landscape and animals and stuff, and there are no big cats in Europe, so maybe no small cats in Lord of the Rings.
How have I never noticed this? This is never.
But in saying
no
that,
cats.
they have oliphants, which are elephants, and they come from, you can get them from Africa and India, and they both have big cats as well. So maybe because they travelled from such far lands.
Well, yes, I think that's. Yeah.
So potentially, if we ever got to travel in Middle Earth, we might find giant cats, and we'll realize that's why they don't have them. They're too big.
Yeah. Big cats. Just big, sleepy cats. They're too big. That's why they're sleepy.
No. You could put their giant nose.
No cats. Wow. I hadn't even.
Yeah, no. I
More
just.
cats. How about that?
Right when Jonathan mentioned cat, I was like, there are none.
And there you go. That's the whole point of this show. That's right. This is the one fact that you will find exclusively here. There are no cats.
Because I'm pretty sure there's a dog. Yeah, because Farmer Maggot has a dog. I'm sure it's like
dogs.
a Rottweiler or something.
Yeah, he's got dogs.
Yeah. And like wargs are kind of.
And
like
why is it the
wolves
same
and
size
kind of
as him?
What's that?
Well, it's meant to be a big dog, but now that I'm thinking about it, the dog looks like the same, like the normal size.
A normal sized dog.
Compared to the Hobbit. So is it a Hobbit dog?
Just a puppy. He's just a puppy.
Well, they wouldn't want to have big dogs because that would be dangerous.
Yeah, but
right. Like if the dog was as tall as you.
This is true, but looking at from what I remember, the breed is a big dog. So I'm just like, did they forget to do the perception thing, or is it a Hobbit dog?
Must be like a Hobbit dog, something that they can control and domesticate. Because if it was too big, they probably wouldn't
it's Hobbit for dinner.
do anything with it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They must have a big problem with wolves then.
Yeah, like
because wolves are big.
They would probably have like so much problems if they had to deal with that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was like a part of their history. Is there's like a big winter that they remember in the past. There, they did have a big wolf problem and everything, but not anymore.
Why?
They went on a wild hunt and murdered all of them. That's what happened.
Well, I think the long winter ended or something.
Oh, and then they just left.
Sounds an extra bad one. Yeah, they just left.
Okay.
They don't like summer?
That sounds more reasonable. Yeah.
Or maybe the rangers who protect the Shire are just really good.
Yeah.
At stopping wolves.
They'll be like, leave now. They're like, okay, see ya.
Leave now and
never
come back.
Oh, we're such nerds. That's great.
The whole point of the show. Okay. All right. Well, move on to the next theme. This is sort of slightly chronological. That's great. The one that I wanted to talk about was the One Ring / Golem theme.
Yeah.
This track is probably like one of the most iconic tracks of all of the Rings. I think. Possibly, he says, with no backing evidence. Yeah. It's the one that you hear at the very start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably should be, and it's very first movie strong as well, because that's where you see and hear the most about the Ring and Gollum, like talking about him rather than being on screen.
Yeah,
because in the next two movies, it's actually the Ring theme's just a bit different, whereas in the first one, it's it's just it on its own.
It's just
and that whole prologue scene is so much of that.
It's just a short film. The entire prologue it's just like its own little dedicated short film.
Well, it has to be, because they tell you where it came from and where it's going, what it's been doing.
So, I mean, what's our general feelings on the One Ring theme? Because it's a good theme, but I always feel very icky hearing it. I'm like, this is nasty. It's just like, and I think that's the point of it. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable because it's describing evil and Gollum associated with it. But it always, like, I like what it does, but I don't like how I feel listening to it. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's I think that makes sense, because it's so often they play that in a transition into a more stressful moment. So like when ring wraiths are going to show up, or Gollum's going to be there, and then they're talking about it or whatever, like it comes up in those moments. So it makes you feel like it's not only the music making you feel something, but your attachment to the music based on what you're seeing and hearing in the dialogue and things. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. But yes, same question for you. What's your review? What are your thoughts about the One Ring theme?
So I was kind of surprised when you said that it made you feel icky, because I was like, oh, that's very intriguing, because it personally doesn't make me feel icky, but, you know, everyone's different. But it always makes me feel very intrigued, because it's almost a very curious type of melodic line. It's always like it's suggesting something that it's not willing to tell us everything. And so I'm always wanting to know what's coming next, to be honest. It draws me in a little bit more, even though it is a bit creepy.
It's seductive.
Yeah, it's... it's kind of creepy.
It's all coming together.
It's all... Yes.
Yeah, so it's seducing us to the dark side. But yeah, like, I love when it comes back, because it's so... It stands out way too much, and it just ruins... It doesn't ruin, but it like really draws your attention quickly to focus on possibly what's happening with the One Ring and what's going on around that object. And it's a really good way to just snap your audience's attention quickly.
Yeah, it's also often on solo violin, so it's like quite different. You know?
Yeah.
Usually you have this big luscious orchestra.
Or solo or oboe as well.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Which is interesting that it swaps between those two, because they also play softer themes together. You know, they play some of the more heroic themes as well, and then all of a sudden, when they're on their own, they sound so sadistically and creepy, and you're like, ugh, go away.
Yeah, choice of instrumentation is always quite important.
Oh, and the keys.
Now I'm trying to imagine like the One Ring theme, but played on like, I don't know, vibraphone.
Think of it on kazoo.
Everything sounds deadly on kazoo.
Oh, you're not wrong. Oh. Yeah, like the way it's also notated, it's got a lot of like, I don't know, it's just, even like looking at it, it kind of, it's got a few flats in it from the score I played, and
a lot of semitones in
it. But it works because it doesn't sound disgusting. Like, it doesn't sound like a chromatic scale.
Right, yeah. That's right. It's not just like, it's not just atonal.
No.
Fully atonal. It also goes through a number of key changes, so it's like an unsettling kind of like, what key am I?
It's like trying here,
but now I'm there, twisting and transforming. Yes.
Yeah, I think that adds to its like the intrigue, and then the unsettledness that you were talking about. Always switching it up.
All right, well, let's move on to a different theme, something a little less twisted and gross. Is the Rivendell theme, which is kind of like, in my mind, like the other side of the Shire theme, because they kind of like melt into each other even in the film. It goes from one theme right into the other one. But yeah, Rivendell theme, before I go any further, I believe, Hanae, you have some opinions about Rivendell theme. Did you want to share those?
Sure. If you're coming from...
You don't like it.
I don't. It sucks, because I love Rivendell. I love the idea of it being a homely home. It's just full of such lovely people who are just always caring and just trying to help people. They put up with so much rubbish as well. But I don't know, the theme seems too cathedral-like, and because of the choirs, and to me, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right because it's in a valley, it's got waterfalls, it's very open housing, so there's no doors from what I can see most of the time. It's very, you can see everything.
People just go to the toilet in a communal space. Yeah,
right.
That's totally
just ruining it for me. Thank you.
yeah, that's totally what I'm thinking.
But I feel like though they're trying to be very majestic with the choir, it just feels wrong to me, and it just doesn't doesn't fit. I don't know why, but it just sounds more like a choir in a cathedral singing. I wish it was a little bit more instrumentation, like maybe some strings and choir with it, or like a few single voices. I think would have been really nice, because I would love it to be more delicate than what I'm hearing. My only personal
like waves.
It sucks though, because I love Rivendell. It's my favorite place, and I hate the theme. I don't hate it, but I'm not attached to it.
Yeah, I think you can understand why Howard Shore did do some of that stuff for the theme, because he wanted it to make it feel old, but also the fact that the elves there are always singing and telling stories like that. So there should be a lot of voices.
That's true.
Like it doesn't work for the vibe of the place that we see in the movie. So yeah.
Especially very regal and very pompous. Not pompous, but like there's a certain air of like, yes, look at me walk very elegantly.
I mean, they do.
Which is
they can walk on snow. What a brag.
That was more the direction they went for describing the place in the movie. So I think it's all right in that sense. But I do like it, and I like that there's a few other themes introduced when they come to Rivendell. So like you first hear, like in the Council of Elrond, you first hear the Gondor theme that doesn't come back until the Return of the King, and you hear there's another little part that comes back whenever something's being prophesized or whatever. So like in the Return of the King, when Arwen's talking about Aragorn's prophecy of coming to the throne, it's the same as when they were in Rivendell, that same theme again. So it's
I hadn't really ever thought of that, but that's actually true, isn't it? Like the Rivendell has a lot of, it's like a little melting pot of all these other themes that are to come. That's really cool.
Because you get to meet new characters and then start the Fellowship story as well. Yep. So we finally get to the Fellowship of the Ring halfway through the movie. And that music starts in Rivendell as well, and kind of grows out of Rivendell's sound and becomes the Fellowship theme that we hear in the Journey South.
Yeah. But I guess then it's like the Rivendell theme itself is maybe not so interesting. It's spawning other more interesting, like its function is perhaps maybe more interesting. The fact that it's like creating an environment for these other themes to be introduced. I don't know.
Well, that's what Elrond does.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Like he brings all these people from everywhere to help solve a universal problem. So it makes sense that all these themes are introduced with his theme.
Right. But the actual theme itself is, well, I know Hanae doesn't really like it. Yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
I like it.
I don't hate it, but it just doesn't sit right. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I didn't choose to not like it, guys. I'm sorry.
Just not for you.
It's just not for you.
No.
Yeah. So you wouldn't be able to be like Bilbo and spend like your last days
I
there.
would.
Because you'd just constantly be playing.
But they wouldn't be playing that exact theme. That's the thing. They would be singing.
They just follow
multiple
you around the whole
songs,
time.
because that's what they do in the book. They won't stop singing multiple different songs. Right. Also, how do they know all those songs? Like, are they making them up on the spot, or did they already know them?
I'm sure they have they've got probably like a little choir book that they carry around.
There's you can't leave the house without your choir book. Go back and get it.
Yeah, you got to study there.
They probably don't worry about trying to learn them quickly, because they've got so long to learn them. So you just hang around with other people until you know all the words, and then you join in. And then whenever a new song's written, someone comes up with an idea and just starts singing.
Yeah.
Until someone else figures it out.
That's right. They've just got eternity to figure it out,
No rush.
I have a piece of trivia, and also if anyone cares, but my feeling was I was fairly indifferent about the theme. I just knew Hanae didn't like it, so I was like, I'm going to talk about it.
Thank you.
Let's figure it out. I'm going to poke the bear.
Yeah, you did. You're like, poke.
We're here for the drama.
We're here for the yes. So the piece of trivia here is so Howard Shore worked from research into Western, African, and Middle Eastern music, from storyboards of the films and sometimes straight from Tolkien's story. For example, he used the Arabic, now I don't know how to say this properly, Maqam, Maqam? Oh, I don't know. Sorry, apologies. But he uses an Arabic Markham, possibly. I have no idea how to say that properly. Many apologies. And it says, and then there's another word right after that, the Hijaz. So Hijaz, Hijaz scale. So he uses this particular scale for the Elvish, Lothlorien, and Galadriel theme to create a sense of antiquity. So that is apparently, again, I got this from Wikipedia. You can tell.
It's a very valid source. You should know.
But if I chase down this source, there is a little reference.
I'm pretty sure that's true, and it makes sense because you want it to feel different again. You know, you want it to feel like something you haven't heard before. You know, so
that's right. It's
something new.
Something new,
something old,
something ancient. Yeah, this doesn't
very
quite fit into the language of the rest of the soundtrack. Yeah,
that's why
I got one final.
Like it fits with me because it's so different.
So
and maybe
different.
that's what's like in my brain is like trying to figure out why it's so different. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, one final theme I want us to discuss before we move on to something else, because we could be here all day if we just reviewed themes one at a time. That's it. The final theme I want to talk about is, of course, the Isengard theme. We've mentioned it already a few times. Before I let anyone else offer an opinion about it, I just want to very quickly mention a piece of trivia. I'm enjoying these trivia way too much, you guys. But the Isengard theme uses a 5/4 meter, so with the 5/4 time signature, which also supposedly represents war and machinery. The 5/4 is also used in Gustav Holst's Mars, the Bringer of War. So I think it alludes to that.
I didn't remember that.
So
I've played both
make of that what you will, but yeah,
that's definitely the vibe, and I think why he picked that because of Mars. It just Mars has been so important to all that. Back whenever someone wants to write that piece of music, like they want to write it. They just copy Mars. Yeah, they copy it
Star
with
Wars
using the wood of the bow, like to play the strings instead.
Yeah,
it's always a 5/4. Like it turns up in Mario, it turns up in everything.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm just thinking replacing the main theme with just Mars, as Mario's like running through the Mushroom Kingdom. That'd be so funny.
Yeah. No, it's whenever he's like on the. Whenever he's on like the ships, like the flying ships, it plays the da 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 da.
Oh my gosh! Wait, which Mario or in all of them?
Most of them.
A bunch of them. I just remember it from the Wii Super Mario Bros.
That's very cool.
Yeah. A funny anecdote from Esther.
Oh yes.
She was saying when they first played this in her school orchestra, at high school, and it was like the first time like anyone had played something in 5/4, like any of them had to do a 5/4 piece in the orchestra. So they were all like, she just remembers all the string players like doing the head bobbing for the one.
Oh my gosh.
So everyone's just doing this, trying to keep time desperately.
Do you want to know something really cute? I was in that orchestra with Esther because we went to the same high school.
Nice.
She was a few years old, like I think she was in year above or 2 years above. And I'm pretty sure I played that with her because I nagged to play Lord of the Rings in the orchestra. So that was my fault that we played it.
Hey, would you believe this? I also have a funny anecdote story, which also has Esther playing in the orchestra. And it's also for Lord of the Rings because I think the conductor actually invited her to come over and play in the same piece with Perth Modern School.
Oh my gosh, iconic!
And so we played through the same thing, and I think she also played in that one as well. So she would have
played the same thing again. Yeah. Nice.
So yeah,
that's so cool.
What a funny, what a fun little connection.
Small world.
Between all
a Lord of the Rings connection. Who knew?
Who knew?
So sweet.
Fantastic. So I take it though that we're all fans of the Isengard theme, and that's our review.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No. My favorite time, I think it comes back in the Fellowship, is right before like my favorite track Amon Hen when the Urukai are like charging through the forest and down the river.
There's that sort of crane shot that follows it.
Yeah. I think that's the best, and it's got the fattest bass trombone part ever.
Oh yeah,
so good.
Yeah.
We love a fat trombone.
It's
Bass part. A fat trombone part.
Trombone.
Not just a really thick trombone. But that could work
But it's
too,
just the normal one. I love how exciting it sounds. And it's just so... It gives off the illusion of being loud when it's not, like, deafeningly loud, but it almost feels like it. Because it's just almost a lot of chaos going on, but it just sounds so precise as well. It's so cool.
Like a piece of machinery itself.
I was going to say, yeah.
It definitely sounds
like... No matter how
really
messy or chaotic it looks, it still keeps going exactly the same.
Alrighty. Well, I think we're getting close to the end of our episode here, so I might start to rapid fire a couple questions.
So
but we'll see what happens. We'll see if it takes a while, because these questions could... You'll see in a second. Yeah. How would you rank the soundtrack over the other two films in the trilogy? So we might be here for another 10 minutes. I don't know.
You mean like each, like in just a whole group, like movie 1, movie 2?
Yeah. So if you were to compare, if you compare like soundtrack for film 1, film 2, film 3, is there any particular order you would rank them?
It's hard. Well, do you have answer since you picked it? You picked the question. Do you have an answer already?
Yes. Well, my short answer is sort of like, it follows the ranking of the films.
Okay.
My ranking for the films, because I associate it with the experience of watching it. So it'd be 1, 3, and 2. So 1 is where it's all wholesome and nice in the Shire. So I do like that most, and the Shire theme is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I love the Nazgul chasing. Return of the King has that great, the beacons of Minas Tirith.
The beacons are lit.
I love that. The beacons are lit. We love these lit beacons.
Of course, the 8.
Right-hand shines. I can't miss. That's how a surefire way to stop me from talking about whatever I'm talking about, is to just say that. But but then Two Towers is my least favorite. Not to say it's bad. It's just not as favorite as the other two. Okay. You can only have one.
You can only have one favorite and one second favorite.
But it's just because it's the darkest step. It's it's the darker middle chapter where everything's just a little bit evil and twisted. So my general experience with that film is still like, okay, it's kind of icky. So I usually rank and the music is associated is also quite icky. So that's the technical term.
Well, it is the middle of the story, and it's more like the hope is lost. We're all depressed. Everything's going wrong. There's no hope. It's the worst part.
How do you carry on?
Oh, yes. That last bit where Sam's like, his speech at the end is so good.
It's very good. Classic. So
I used to know it word by word. Now I don't, so I'm a little disappointed in myself. Not even the question, by the way. I just got distracted by when we were talking about the second movie, because it's at that nice moment at the end where Sam has like, that great speech. And then there's also a bit like where Frodo's saying, we want to hear about Sam. And I was like, I want to hear about Sam.
And then it goes all twisted because it goes to Gollum. Yeah, it's like, I'm going to murder these two.
Yeah. Great way to end. What a cliffhanger.
Straight away.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'm going to murder him. And then
he really tries.
Through. He tries.
Well,
props to him.
What does he do? He
outsources it.
Oh my gosh, that's so... But
he outsources his work.
He's pretty smart for someone who hasn't left the cave in like quite a few hundred. How long was he in the cave? 200 years?
It was in the cave for 500.
It was 500.
Years,
okay, yeah, he was in there for a while.
But then he spent another like 60 years out of the cave.
Yeah.
So
since the events of The Hobbit. Yeah. Fantastic.
And speaking of which, there's going to be that new Gollum game coming out.
Oh, I have heard of this.
Yeah, it's coming out in the middle of this year, apparently.
Why did we not hear about these things?
What that's going to be like.
Yeah, and it's going to be like Gollum's story. Like, I think from...
when he murdered his first friend.
I'm not sure when...
Till when he murdered...
No, I'm not sure what the time range is, but I think it's post-Hobbit, pre-Lord of the Rings.
So him wandering around, getting caught a few times.
Yeah.
Getting
a whole
beat
bunch
up.
of times.
There'll be a first person segment at the very start where you have to like mash like the E button to murder your brother. or his cousin. He has to kill Deagle.
I really hope not. That would be awful.
You have to the start of the game, you have to kill your best friend.
Oh,
that's terrible.
But it would be pretty intense move on the producer's part.
Yeah. Just the very first thing you have to do. It's this nice little fishing thing. This little fishing trip. And
the first bit is like catch a fish and then save your friend. And then it's like kill your friend.
Immediately.
Choose your own adventure, but really not.
Fantastic. I have no idea what that's going to be like.
But
I'm definitely going to...
Should we play
I'm definitely going to check it out. Last couple of questions. Last two questions. Yeah, very briefly. And now I imagine this might be difficult for its own reason. Yeah, actually, yeah. How does it rank? Actually, yeah. I mean, did you have a ranking?
Who?
Hanae?
Yeah. Well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Hanae.
1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Release order.
Yeah, release order. But also because I love all of them, so I don't actually not like any of them. Yeah. But
it's all just very good.
With each movie, they add more of my favorite themes into longer pieces.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's closer to my heart.
That makes sense.
Nice and short.
I think I have to say 3, 1, 2, maybe. 1, 2. Okay. I think I like 3 because like the Gondor theme I think has to be my favorite major theme in the whole thing, especially like the lighting of the beacons and all that stuff. The Steward of Gondor is so good. Like right before Pippin sings his song. That's just,
the tomato scene.
That's the best part. Yeah, gross.
The tomatoes.
Gross. It's like, what's the worst part of Lord of the Rings? Tomatoes. Nothing else.
Yeah.
A juicy red boy. A juicy tomato.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
But also with that, in the Return of the King, like the nostalgic way, a lot of the older themes come back towards the end of the movie, especially like at the Black Gate when the Fellowship theme comes back. Obviously it changes a little bit, but yeah, that comes back there and you're like, oh my god, they're still a fellowship, they're all working towards the same thing, this is awesome. And then I really like 2 because of the way it uses one very strong theme lots and lots of different ways. So instead of just coming back always the same, it uses that new Rohirrim theme, but in lots of different moods and at lots of different tempos and all sorts of things to make it work in all the situations. I think that's great.
Rohirrim theme. That's one of the best
things. Yeah, it's so good, especially in the Return of the King. I think that's because the Rohirrim theme is so good in that movie. But then also the first one has so much music that doesn't come back in the next 2 movies, which I think it really misses out. Like I said with Am and Hen, that one's so good. Also like Arwen and Aragorn's like music when they're in Rivendell, like. And she gives him the Even Star and stuff. There's special music then for just that moment. And when the Fellowship comes into like the Great Hall in Moria, and there's that huge moment there, which is just like awesome. But none of those times ever come back like that in later movies or even later in that movie. So yeah, there's lots of good stuff that missed out again, but because they never went back to the same place and because all the music's attached to a place or a people, you can't just do that.
Oh, that's a very good answer.
Gandalf's theme again, to be honest.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, there's something I want to mention very quickly. You just reminded me, Carl, when you mentioned Moria. There's the piece of music that plays when they go into the Great Hall in Moria. So it's like it goes da 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 da, etc. Which is very similar to the Erebor theme.
I was just thinking that actually.
Later,
which
is like da 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 da. So it's like it kind of starts off the same. So I have to imagine like Howard must have gone back and be like, what music have I done for the dwarves so far? Here's what I've got a little
for the dwarves that I didn't overuse or something like that, like something he could use again.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good pickup.
Yeah. So I always the first time I heard that I was just like, oh, what's this? It's gone in reverse. So I always thought that's quite interesting. Okay. Now this is a question that might be a bit hard to answer considering how much we love the soundtrack. But is there something in the soundtrack that you don't like? And your answer can just be no, and we'll leave it at that.
What do you mean? Is
there something in the soundtrack that you didn't like? Because I do want to keep this a bit more like a review. Like, we've talked about a lot of the good.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the soundtrack that you were like, that could have been better, or I didn't really like how this was done?
Are you stabbing me to get back into Rivendell?
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. There's your review. You just didn't like Rivendell.
Well, I'm going to try and think of another answer. Just give me a minute.
Okay. Yeah. So out of the 3 like credits songs that they have, like the music that plays over the credits, the actual songs. The Gollum song is my least favorite from the one for the Two Towers. Because May It Be is pretty good. I think Into the West is perfect, and I think it's just amazing. But yeah,
sure it won's like an Oscar or something.
Won an Oscar for best original song. For a movie. It was just so good. But yeah, Gollum song, the one that I didn't really like.
Yeah. What about it? Okay,
that's probably the one.
Okay, yeah. For me personally, I always felt like the soundtrack maybe could have like, I felt like it could have gone a little more I want to say, like, how to describe this, so not too European. I feel like sometimes it could have gone slightly like because there were so many different cultures, but also, of course, I do understand a lot of it is still in reference to other European cultures, but I feel like there could have been an opportunity somewhere to just push it a little more in a different direction, just so that it wasn't too Western orchestration the whole time. I'm trying to put this as delicately as possible without stepping on anyone's toes, but like
you're trying to trying not to offend Europe.
Good luck.
I think they'll be all right.
I think okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, this kind of ties to my next question, because I thought it could have been fun to have slightly, like, there is a lot of folk instruments and instruments outside of the normal orchestration, but like I thought, it could have been interesting to hear some really unusual instruments put front and center, because it is mostly big luscious orchestra, and we do love that. But
I think that's what you get from it being a film score. Still,
that's true. Yeah, like you gotta the film it still has to be a film score at the end of the day. So
we always want those big epic like lush orchestra you were talking about. Make it really like lots of big long notes and stuff. Everyone loves that.
Everyone loves that. Yeah,
you have to give what the people want.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Well, I think it could have been. Sorry.
No, keep going. I'll.
Yeah, I just always thought it could be like, especially when they go to Rohan, like they could have, like they do use like the I know you'll know this. What's the
Norwegian
violin
fiddle?
The Norwegian fiddle. Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, they always like there's an opportunity there to do something quite different. I feel like, because they're a race of men, but they're like different to some of the men, the male, like they're different to Gondor. Like they're not the same people. So I feel like their music, like it is quite distinct in the film score as it is, but I always feel like could be an opportunity to do something really different there,
Yeah, well, I think I like the Rohirrim one, and just adding in that one different instrument to be like the star of the show for a little while was a good move. And I think what could have happened instead of what you were suggesting is have Gondor's one be more different than the ones we've heard before. Yeah, so because Gondor is
just dubstep.
It could have been because Gondor is a very changing one of them a little bit, and I think Gondor's is maybe one of the most straightforward.
Yeah, I feel like there's something interesting to be done with the fact that it's like it's an entire city built on this mountain. It's like very high rise. Everything's pointing up. Like there could be some kind of, I don't know, ascending scale motif they could have done there, or I don't know. I'm just pulling stuff off the top of my head, but like, I always thought like it could be fun to change it up a bit. Yeah. Hanae, did you have a chance to think about something you didn't like other than Rivendell?
Shush. Well, before I get into that, I just wanted to add on top of your comment that I agree with you. I think it would have been so cool to have more rarer folk instruments, but they did actually. But I think they could have just been maybe soloed a little bit more. Maybe it was just too heavy instrumentation, or it was mixed so we couldn't hear it as clearly as we probably would have liked, or maybe it just wasn't used that much. So apparently somebody in the Hobbits get an array of British and Irish folk instruments, including a mandolin, Celtic harp, a musette, which is a kind of an accordion, so that's the thing you were hearing, and a bodhrán. So that's how Tolkien saw the Shire. And apparently Gollum gets a creepy theme on the Hungarian cymbalin, which is a hammered similar to the hammered dulcimer, which
yeah.
I find interesting. And then the Norwegian Hardanger fiddle. Apologies. It's actually such a beautiful string instrument.
It looks really pretty.
It's so cool. It's got so much ornamentation on it, and
there's no simple version of it.
Oh, it's so lovely. So I think we could have had more of just them being like more presented in the pieces, so we could have heard them a little bit more. But that's okay, because I love Lord of the Rings too much to want it to change.
Fantastic.
I want to just quickly mention is Khazad-dûm. Now, I love Khazad-dûm, but the thing that when I'm hearing the chants, it kind of reminds me of when New Zealanders are doing their I don't know what it's called, the haka. Yeah, and that's all I can kind of picture, which is not, I'm pretty sure, the wrong thing for this.
Well, no, I think it's kind of supposed to, because that part was actually sung by all Maori choir.
Okay, maybe that's why it gives them off that vibe. And I don't mean it to be a bad thing, but that's all I can picture is them doing a haka. And I'm like, this is wrong, because they're running, not standing their ground, which I think the haka would have been really cool if they like stood their ground and tried to like do some stuff. But, you know, it still works. I love it. It's great. I don't have any faults. I'm sorry.
No faults. Okay.
Yeah, I love it too much. If I think of one later on, I'll let you know. I'll have to like really listen to each of them, like just in order, and be like, okay, these are my notes. Here you go.
It's like a checklist like pass, fail, pass, fail.
Yeah. I'll give you a grade at the end of the day.
Pass.
Yeah. Alrighty. The final very quick question I want to leave us off with, and then we got to wrap this up, is there if you could add an instrument to the soundtrack that wasn't used, what would it be? And I think Hanae, you kind of, I feel like you just added an organ. Just add an organ, right?
I don't know if I would add an
something
organ,
else.
Actually.
Yeah.
Okay. I would add the. Oh, hold on. Let me just find what it's called. Quick, ask someone else while I'm looking up the name.
Carl, is there anything you'd add? I mean, he uses quite a lot.
Yeah, he does use a lot, and like we were talking about, with the Hobbits, he uses lots of like folk instruments, and he tried to bring in something special for each group. So, I'm not sure what he could have added. Yeah, I'm not sure what's missing. I don't think I know enough other instruments to be able to decide that would have been perfect. Yeah.
Did you say you came up with something?
So I don't know where I would add it. Maybe to Gollum's theme, just add more creepiness to it, like the ring theme. But the Viking violin called the Tal Harper. So this is a 3-stringed instrument, and the way you play it is like you're pushing on the strings, but there's like no fingerboard, so it's really weird. Makes the most strangest drone. It sounds very crunchy and dry, so I think it would work really good for like a creepy theme. So I thought, hey, that could maybe work. And then it's adding a little bit more folksy vibe to it, which I think Middle-earth is.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, that could be, I mean, we were talking about it earlier, but like I was saying, like maybe we could add like a different outside the normal orchestral instrumentation. This could be.
Apparently I can buy it from Etsy for $432. Wow.
What a steal.
Yeah,
what a steal.
A bargain.
Fantastic. Yeah. My answer was, I feel like there must have been some piano in the score, but it must have been buried really deep. I feel like there could have been a moment to use maybe piano.
Really?
I'm just thinking like it might not have worked, but I wonder what it'd be like if you had like a piano. Like my thinking with piano, because it's quite a modern-ish instrument, this is probably why it's not very, it's not really heard, given Lord of the Rings is this very ancient kind of setting. But I feel like in the more technologically advanced places like Gondor, for example, there could have been like a little 4-tape piano somewhere snuck in somewhere. I don't know. I feel like
poor Galadriel just coming down,
or possibly even, or maybe like even or maybe not for the Elvish people because they're ancient.
I know.
But I was like, and again, this doesn't really come up in the films that we're speaking of, but like, if they ever showed like Numenor, they're more like advanced, like kind of people.
They have working lights.
4-tape piano somewhere. a little 4-tape piano somewhere in the background. I don't know. Just the thought, So, but I think it's Howard Shore did probably cover the whole
I don't know
gambit there.
For me, I don't know if piano would work.
They're probably the kind of people to like have built-in organs into like a cathedral or something. They probably would have done something like that because they were so good at doing things. They'd just be like, oh, let's make this place even more grand.
It makes sense.
Built-in instrument.
Yeah.
The whole
Gondor
room is an
is
instrument.
An organ.
It just has massive
It just has pipes everywhere going up into the hill. And
it
then
also
you're
doubles
playing
as like
Middle Earth.
boulder dispensers. Yeah. I'm sure boulders shoot out of the pipes and stuff.
Jeez.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
That would be...
Alrighty.
Minas Tirith is a big instrument.
Cool.
Blunt instrument. That's right. A big blunt instrument.
You could call for aid without having to light the beacons. You'd be like, play C major.
Oh my god. Just plays their SOS song.
Plays it wrong.
Just
what are they doing?
wrong.
They're practicing. They suck. They didn't play it right. I know. Imagine if you played it in the wrong key and then no one came. Because it wasn't correct.
Fantastic. Alrighty. Well, I believe that does it for my line of questioning. That's all I had to ask you guys about. Hopefully that was some fun for you guys, and hopefully people listening to this found something interesting from that. Apologies to Carl. We've kept you a little bit longer than we had bargained for. So hopefully that's been
no problem at all.
Fantastic.
I had loads of fun.
Alrighty. Well, I think that does it for this episode. So thank you for listening to our new show. Track record, which actually, by the way, I haven't actually cleared with Hanae.
Yeah,
so I have no idea. I have no idea if this title is going to stick. It could totally be something else.
How dare you?
It'll be different next time. That's right. Tune in every week to find out what the show is called. There you go. But
that'd be kind of
got
funny,
a different name
actually,
every week.
but it probably wouldn't work.
It probably wouldn't work.
But I love the idea nonetheless.
It's a good idea. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us on our inaugural episode of Track Record, titled TBC. And you'll hear from us next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.